Daddy Pig loses his glasses. First words with Peppa Pig, level 4. Meet Peppa, George, Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig. Learn always, around, been, found, off, or, read, those, which, work, your. Read, bathroom, glasses, newspaper. Daddy Pig has glasses. He must put his glasses on, or he cannot see. If Daddy Pig does not put on his glasses, he cannot read. Daddy Pig has lost his glasses. He needs his glasses to read and to do his work.
You always take off your glasses and then you cannot find them, Daddy,
says Peppa. You will be sad until you have found those glasses, says Mummy Pig. I am always sadder without my glasses, said Daddy Pig. I need them to read and to do my work. Daddy Pig did not know where he took off his glasses. Which room have you been in? Asked Mummy Pig.
Have you been here, Daddy?
Asked Peppa. I do not know which rooms I have been in, said Daddy Pig.
We will look all around until we have found which room you left those glasses in,
said Peppa. It might be hard work. Daddy Pig takes off those glasses in lots of rooms, said Mummy Pig. Peppa and George went to look around. Peppa looked under the newspaper, but the glasses were not there.
I have not found your glasses yet,
said Peppa. George had a look around too. This was not the room in which Daddy Pig had left his glasses. I might have been in the bathroom, said Daddy Pig.
Daddy always takes off his glasses in the bathroom,
said Peppa. But she did not find Daddy's glasses in the bathroom. He had not been there. George looked around the bathroom too. That was not where Daddy Pig took off his glasses. Looking for the glasses was hard work.
We have looked around all of the rooms. We have not found your glasses. You did not take off your glasses here or in the bathroom,
said Peppa. I do not know which room I left those glasses in. Now I cannot read or work, said Daddy Pig. If I walk around with no glasses, I always bump into things, said Daddy Pig. He got up.
Daddy, I have found your glasses. You took them off and then you sat on them,
said Peppa. Thank you for all your hard work looking around, said Daddy Pig. You must not take off those glasses ever again, said Mummy Pig. The end. First words with Peppa Pig. Level 4. The very hot day. Meet Peppa, George, Daddy Pig, Mummy Pig, and Miss Rabbit. Learn because, before, by, cold, fast, gave, right, these, use, very, would. Read hot day, ice cream, swimming costume, whale, paddling pool, dinosaur lollipop. It was a very hot day. Peppa and George went to play in the garden because it was so hot. You can use all the swimming costumes. You will not get cold, said Mummy Pig. Daddy Pig got the paddling pool. Would you like to use the paddling pool because it is so hot? Said Daddy Pig.
Yes, please, fast,
Said George. Before they got in, Daddy Pig had to put air in. I will use the pump as fast as I can, George, said Daddy Pig. Before they got in, they had to use the hose to fill it up. Mummy Pig gave Peppa the hose.
We can use this to fill the paddling pool right to the top,
said Peppa. Peppa filled the paddling pool with very cold water. It is filling up very fast, said Daddy Pig.
I think it will be too cold,
said Peppa. The paddling pool was not too cold. It was just right.
I am still very hot,
said Peppa.
I wish I could be cold.
Would you like to buy an ice cream to eat before lunch? said Mummy Pig. We can buy one because it is so hot, said Daddy Pig.
You are right, Daddy. An ice cream will be very cold,
said Peppa. Peppa went to buy an ice cream from Miss Rabbit.
We would like to buy an ice cream,
said Peppa.
Would you like to buy one of these?
asked Miss Rabbit.
Yes, please,
said Peppa. Miss Rabbit gave Peppa an ice cream.
These ice creams are very cold,
said Peppa.
Would you like to buy one of these dinosaur lollipops?
said Miss Rabbit.
Dinosaur,
said George. Miss Rabbit gave George a dinosaur lollipop. You must eat it very fast, because it will not be cold for very long, said Mummy Pig.
Thank you,
said George. George liked his dinosaur lollipop a lot. Eat the lollipop before it melts, George. It will not be cold for very long, said Mummy Pig. Mummy Pig was right. George's dinosaur lollipop did not keep cold. It melted because it was so hot. George felt very sad. He began to wail because he did not have a lollipop.
Don't wail, George. Mummy can put it right,
said Peppa. I will buy you one of these ice creams, but you must eat it before it melts, said Mummy Pig. Mummy Pig gave George an ice cream.
Hooray!
George ate the ice cream very fast. The end. First words with Peppa Pig. Level 4. Bedtime story. Meet Peppa, George, Mummy Pig, Daddy Pig. Learn. Both. Does. First. Sing. Sit. Sleep. Tell. There. Upon. Wash. Why. Wish. Write. Read. Dinosaur. Clock that tells the time. Diary. Castle. Bedtime story. Peppa as a princess. It was bedtime. First, Peppa and George both had a wash and brushed their teeth. Then they lay upon their beds. I can sing you both a song, or tell you both a story first. Then you can go to sleep, said Daddy Pig.
Tell us both a story first, please,
said Peppa.
I wish Daddy would tell us a story with a princess in it,
said Peppa.
Dinosaur,
said George.
Why does the story need a dinosaur?
asked Peppa. Well, why not? said Daddy Pig. I will do my best to tell you a story with both of them, if you wish. Once upon a time, said Daddy Pig. Sit down first, Daddy, said Mummy Pig. She got a chair for Daddy Pig to sit on. Now you can tell them their story, Daddy, said Mummy Pig. Once upon a time, said Daddy Pig.
Dinosaur,
said George.
George,
said Peppa. Daddy Pig began to tell the story again. Once upon a time, there was a princess. Every day, she had to sit and sing or just look out at the sun. She did not have fun. At the end of every day, the princess liked to sit down and write in her diary.
Wow.
why can I not have some fun?
said the princess. The princess had to write something in her diary every day.
I wish that just one fun thing could happen,
said the princess.
Dinosaur,
said George. Yes, the story does have a dinosaur, said Daddy Pig.
why does it need a dinosaur?
said Peppa. Wait and see what the dinosaur does, said Daddy Pig. Once upon a time, a dinosaur came to the castle.
Wow.
At last I can write the story of the dinosaur in my diary,
said the princess. The princess got her diary to write in.
What a fun day. I liked it better than when I just sing or look out at the sun,
said the princess. Then the princess wanted to go to sleep. First the princess had a wash and brushed her teeth. Then she lay upon the bed and went to sleep. Peppa and George both went to sleep in their beds too. What a good story, Daddy. You could write a book, says Mummy Pig. Yes, it would be a good book to write, said Daddy Pig. The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa meets the Queen. Peppa and her family are watching television. Suddenly, there is a special announcement from the Queen.
The Queen, the Queen!
Peppa cheers.
Hello to you all,
The Queen says.
Today I have decided to give an award to the hardest working person in the country.
Wow.
The hardest working person in the country is Miss Rabbit.
At the supermarket, Miss Rabbit is closing the shop when Mr. Zebra the postman presents her with a golden letter.
Miss Rabbit, please come to my palace to get a medal for all your hard work. Bring friends, all the best, the Queen. I can't visit the Queen, I've got too much work to do.
Miss Rabbit panics.
Don't worry, Peppa says. The Queen has made it a holiday.
It is the day Miss Rabbit visits the Queen. Peppa and her friends are going too.
We're off to see the Queen, we're off to see the Queen. E-I-I-D-O, we're off to see the Queen.
Here we are, Miss Rabbit squeaks.
Look at all the fancy stuff.
Woof, Danny Dog says. Don't touch anything, Miss Rabbit warns.
Where is the Queen?
Emily Elephant asks.
Queen!
Susie Sheep calls.
Where are you?
In another fancy room, there is a lady sitting on a throne knitting.
Hello,
Peppa says.
have you seen the Queen today?
I am the Queen, the lady says.
The children are very excited to meet you, Your Majesty,
says Miss Rabbit.
I'm excited to meet all of you,
The Queen says, standing up.
and now for Miss Rabbit's medal.
Wow.
This is the Queen's Award for Industry. Keep up the good work.
The Queen puts a shiny gold medal over Miss Rabbit's head.
Cheers for Miss Rabbit,
The Queen says.
hip hip, hooray!
Shout the children.
Hooray!
Miss Rabbit and the children wear their boots to go out into the palace gardens with the Queen.
Do you play in your garden all the time, Your Majesty?
Danny Dog asks.
I don't have time for playing, no,
Answers the Queen. She suddenly stops.
Oh dear, a muddy puddle. Never mind, we can walk around it. You can't walk around a muddy puddle,
Peppa says.
you have to jump in it.
Peppa shows the Queen how to jump up and down in a muddy puddle.
I say, that does look fun,
The Queen says.
Here one goes then. Stop!
Shouts Peppa. Everyone gasps.
If you jump in muddy puddles,
Peppa says.
you must wear your boots, Your Majesty.
The Queen goes inside and comes back with her boots on. Everyone loves jumping up and down in muddy puddles, including the Queen. The end. Peppa Pig, Grampy Rabbit's hovercraft. Grandpa Pig is taking Peppa and George out for the first time on his sailing boat. Hello, old bean, says Mr. Stallion.
Grandpa, that man just called you an old bean,
Cries Peppa.
It's another way of saying old friend,
Says Grandpa Pig.
Now, where did I leave my boat?
Says Grandpa Pig.
What does your boat look like, Grandpa?
Asks Peppa.
It has a little red flag on top of the mast.
Says Grandpa Pig.
Like that little flag?
Asks Peppa. Oh dear, Grandpa Pig's sailing boat has sunk.
Oh no!
Grampy Rabbit zooms past the boat.
What is that monstrosity?
Asks Mr. Stallion.
Is it allowed in the sailing club?
Asks Mrs. Corgi. Grampy Rabbit reaches Peppa and George.
Hello!
Shouts Grampy Rabbit.
What a marvellous day for sailing. Hello, Grampy Rabbit,
Says Peppa.
Grandpa Pig, you look sad.
Says Grampy Rabbit.
What's the matter? We can't go sailing because our boat has sunk.
Says Peppa.
Why don't you hop onto my hovercraft?
Suggests Grampy Rabbit. You can't drive that thing around here, says Grandpa Pig. You're not a member of the sailing club. Well, you're a member, aren't you? Replies Grampy Rabbit. So I'm sure it will be perfectly fine.
Hooray!
Peppa George and Grandpa Pig board Grampy Rabbit's hovercraft. Hold on to your hats, shouts Grampy Rabbit as they zoom across the sea. Grampy Rabbit's hovercraft can go on land and water.
Wow!
Mr. Stallion and Mrs. Corgi are enjoying a peaceful day's sailing. Oh, what is that horrible noise? Cries Mrs. Corgi. It's that monstrosity again, says Mr. Stallion. Whoopee! Ha ha! Says Grampy Rabbit. Grampy Rabbit stops off at the Sailing Club Cafe to get some juice. This is the life, eh? Says Grampy Rabbit. The sea and the sky and the boat sailing by.
Wow!
But the boats are not sailing by, Grampy Rabbit, says Peppa.
There's no wind, says Grandpa Pig.
Without wind, sailing boats can't sail.
Suddenly, they hear voices calling for help.
It's Mr. Stallion and Mrs. Corgi. We need to rescue them, Grampy Rabbit,
says Peppa. Grampy Rabbit zooms towards the shouting. Ahoy there, he calls. We can't get back to the dock without the wind, says Mrs. Corgi. Toss me a line and I'll tow you back in, says Grampy Rabbit. Grampy Rabbit's hovercraft tows the sailing boats back to shore. We're towing the boats to shore, we're towing the boats to shore, sings Grampy Rabbit. We're towing the boats to the car park, towing the boats to Bee Park, sings Grampy Rabbit. Now you don't have to go so far to walk your cars. But sailing boats don't go on land like hovercrafts, gasps Grandpa Pig. Grandpa Pig, who is your friend? Asked Mr. Stallion. We must thank him for rescuing us. His name is Grampy Rabbit, replies Grandpa Pig. Grampy Rabbit, delighted to meet you, old bean, says Mr. Stallion. You too, old bean, replies Grampy Rabbit. The end. Peppa Pig, Miss Rabbit's Day Off. Peppa George and Susie Sheep have had a sleepover at Rebecca Rabbit's house.
It's fun having carrots for breakfast,
Laughs Peppa. I could eat carrots all day, agrees Daddy Rabbit. Mummy Rabbit's sister, Miss Rabbit, pops in to say hello. I can't stop long, she says. I've got lots of work to do. I'm working at the supermarket, selling ice creams and driving the bus.
Wow!
Miss Rabbit trips over one of Richard's toys.
Ouch!
Her ankle is hurt. Oh no!
You must stay here and get better,
Decides Miss Rabbit.
I'll do your work for you.
Mummy Rabbit puts Rebecca and her friends in charge of looking after Miss Rabbit. Luckily, Susie Sheep has her nurse's outfit with her.
Don't worry, she says. I am only a pretend nurse.
Mummy Rabbit goes straight to the supermarket.
Miss Rabbit is ill, she tells everyone. I'll be doing her job today.
Have you ever worked a checkout before? Asks Mrs. Dog. Mummy Rabbit has not. Running a supermarket checkout is quite hard. Miss Rabbit calls home.
We need more help, she cries. This job is going to take me all day.
Peppa phones Miss Rabbit's ice cream stall. Daddy Pig answers.
Miss Rabbit is ill. You've got to sell the ice cream today.
Oh, snorts Daddy Pig. I'm an expert at ice cream. He gets to work. Selling ice cream is quite hard. Soon the ice cream begins to melt. Oh no! The ice cream is all runny. Ice cream soup, anyone? Asks Daddy Pig. Peppa phones Grandad Dog.
Miss Rabbit is very ill. Can you drive her bus today?
Grandad Dog gets to work, but driving a bus is quite hard. It is even harder when you have cars to fix too. Oh no! Back at Rebecca Rabbit's house, Miss Rabbit is feeling better.
Can I get up now?
She asks. Susie Sheep shakes her head.
No. You must lie very still, but please keep breathing.
It's not easy doing all your jobs, says Mummy Rabbit at the end of the day.
It's not easy sitting down all day, says Miss Rabbit.
She will definitely be back at work tomorrow. The end. Peppa Pig Garden Games. It is a lovely sunny day. Peppa and George are playing outside with Susie Sheep. Daddy Pig brings out a large box. It is full of garden games. Here you are, he says. Susie looks inside the box. She pulls out 3 wooden sticks.
Wow.
Juggle sticks, she cries. Watch me juggle.
Susie throws the sticks up into the air. They all land on the grass. Those aren't juggling sticks, laughs Daddy Pig. They are Skittles. Daddy Pig stands the Skittles up. Peppa throws a ball and tries to knock the Skittles down.
Hooray, shouts Peppa. I got 2.
Hooray!
Now it's Susie's turn.
This game is very hard, warns Peppa. You probably won't be able to do it.
Susie throws the ball. She knocks over all the Skittles.
Wow.
Oh,
says Peppa. George is too little for Skittles. He wants to play bat and ball instead. Peppa can throw the ball, says Daddy Pig, and George has to bat it. George hits the ball. Susie catches it. Oh dear, George is out. Oh no! Poor George. He is too little for bat and ball. You just need a bit more practice, says Daddy Pig. Watch me. Daddy Pig bats the ball hard. Oops! It has gone all the way into the house. Mummy Pig is having a coffee in the kitchen. She is very surprised to see Daddy Pig. Can we have our ball back, please? He asks. Yes, says Mummy Pig, but please play more carefully in the future. Danny Dog comes to play in the garden too. Daddy Pig decides to start a new game. He gets 2 bars and a yellow pole out of the box.
What's that?
Says Peppa. Limbo, replies Daddy Pig.
Wow.
He turns on some music, leans backwards, then walks underneath the pole. Daddy Pig makes the pole lower, but this time he can't walk underneath it.
Your tummy is too big,
Giggles Peppa.
My turn,
Says Danny. Danny, Peppa, Susie and George all walk under the pole. Now we'll make the pole even lower, says Daddy Pig.
Easy,
Giggles Peppa. But this time, when Peppa tries, the pole falls down.
It's impossible,
She decides.
Nobody can walk under that.
The pole is very, very low, says George. He wants to have a go.
Wow,
Shouts Danny.
George can do it.
George is the best at limbo because he is so little. Well done, George. The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa's super noisy sound book. It is a very rainy day. Peppa and George are in their house. We are going to have a quiet day inside, says Mummy Pig. Aww, sighs Peppa and George, disappointed. Peppa and George love going outside to play. Ho ho. Cheer up, you two, smiles Daddy Pig. You can help me mend the kitchen cupboard.
Kitchen cupboards are boring,
says Peppa.
I don't like the rain.
Giggles George. Just then, the telephone rings. It's Mrs. Rabbit, Rebecca Rabbit's mummy. Can Rebecca and Richard come to play? She asks. Of course, says Mummy Pig. Yippee! Cheers Peppa. Rebecca and Richard Rabbit arrive. Richard has brought his brand new toy car. Vroom, vroom, squeaks Richard. And George has his toy, Mr. Dinosaur.
Dinosaur.
Growls George. Peppa and George get out their musical toys and make lots and lots of noise. Laughs Peppa, very proud of herself. Hooray! Cheer Richard and Rebecca. Now Susie Sheep has arrived and Mummy Pig has made lunch for everyone. Gobble gobble, delicious, everyone cries. Burp, burps Peppa.
Excuse me.
It's stopped raining, says Mummy Pig. Let's take the leftover bread and feed the ducks.
Squeak, squeak.
Queers Rebecca Rabbit.
Shall we give them carrots?
Rebecca Rabbit likes carrots. I think the ducks would prefer bread, smiles Mummy Pig.
Quack.
Says George, jumping up and down. Peppa, George, says Mummy Pig, let Daddy put on your rain boots first. Yes, George, says Peppa. If you jump in muddy puddles, you must wear your boots.
We're going to see the ducks. We're going to see the ducks,
sings Peppa. George, Susie, Rebecca and Richard all join in very loudly. Ho ho, laughs Daddy Pig. What a lovely song, but you don't have to sing it quite so loudly.
Hello, Mrs. Duck,
Cries Peppa, throwing some crumbs.
I hope you're hungry.
It's Richard Rabbit's first time feeding the ducks, and he's a bit scared.
Don't be scared, Richard, says Peppa. They won't hurt you. Watch me. Peppa shows Richard how to feed the ducks.
Wah, 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 wah.
Shouts Richard.
Dinosaur.
Shouts George.
Arr.
Silly George, laughs Peppa. You always say dinosaur for everything. Why don't you find some muddy puddles to jump in, says Mummy Pig. Yippee! Peppa shouts. Splish splash. Everyone is having a wonderful noisy time jumping and splashing. Here is Danny Dog and his mummy. Danny jumps in a great big puddle. Squelch! Oops, he splashed Daddy Pig's glasses. Oh dear, says Peppa. Now Daddy will be grumpy. I am not grumpy, snorts Daddy Pig. How about a nice quiet game of hide and seek, suggests Mummy Pig. Yippee, shouts Peppa. I'm brilliant at seeking. Everyone hides while Peppa covers her eyes and counts to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. George isn't very good at hiding. He stands by a tree with his eyes closed. Peppa thinks this is very funny and decides to surprise him. Very quietly, she creeps up behind him. Grunts Peppa loudly. Oh dear! George is very surprised and drops Mr. Dinosaur into a muddy puddle. George starts to cry. Peppa, have you been teasing George? Says Mummy Pig. Sorry, George, says Peppa. All the parents have come to collect the children. It is time to go home. Goodbye, everyone, cheers Peppa. Everybody waves goodbye. Ho ho, chuckles Daddy Pig. Peace at last. It's time for Peppa and George to go to bed. First, they brush their teeth. Scrub, scrub. Now let's have a nice, quiet bedtime story, says Mummy Pig. What shall we read? Asked Daddy Pig. Can we have one all about music? Peppa asks. I love music. Daddy Pig begins the bedtime story. It's about two very noisy piggies playing very noisy musical instruments. Peppa, George, and even Mr. Dinosaur join in all the actions. Roar, roar, growls George. Laughs Peppa. Peppa and George are a little bit sleepy. George starts to fall asleep first. That wasn't a very quiet day, giggles Peppa, yawning. No, it was a very noisy day, Peppa, replies Daddy Pig, smiling. But Peppa is already fast asleep. The end. Peppa Pig, Pirate Island.
I'm Peppa Pig. This is my little brother George, and this is the story of the day we went to Pirate Island.
Grandpa and Granny Pig took Peppa and her friends for a busy day out on Grandpa's boat. All aboard, said Grandpa Pig. Is everyone wearing their life jackets? Then off we go. George, you can have my pirate hat, said Grandpa Pig. Today we are sailing to Pirate Island, and if we are lucky, we might find buried treasure. Everyone was very excited. The boat landed on a sandy beach. Everyone climbed to the top of the island.
Grandpa Pig planted a flag and said, "This is Pirate Island. Now let's look for buried treasure." Grandpa took a strange machine out of his bag. "What's that?" asked Susie Sheep. "It is a metal detector," said Grandpa Pig. "It finds buried treasure." He waved it over the ground and suddenly it started to beep. "Buried treasure!" cried Grandpa. "Let's dig it up." "Here's something," said Danny Dog. "It's a shiny coin. Maybe it's pirate treasure," said Grandpa. Everyone gathered round to look. Grandpa waved the metal detector over a new patch of sand and it beeped again. "This sounds very big," said Grandpa. Everyone dug and Grandpa pulled and pulled at the heavy object until suddenly it came free. "That's not buried treasure," said Grandpa Pig. "It's a rusty old shopping trolley." "Oh dear," laughed Granny Pig. "Maybe that's enough treasure hunting. Who wants to go to the rocky beach?" Everyone wanted to go to the rocky beach. "I'll go and check on the boat," said Grandpa Pig. Granny Pig and the children went off, leaving Grandpa Pig to do important boat things. It was a warm and sunny day on the boat deck. "Ah, this is nice," said Grandpa Pig. "Maybe I'll just close my eyes for a little bit." Granny Pig showed the children the rocky beach. "When the sea goes out, it leaves little pools of water in amongst the rocks, and every rock pool there's something special that the sea has left behind." Peppa looked in a pool. "Ooh, I can see something glittering. It's a shiny coin." "Maybe it's more pirate treasure," said Granny Pig. "And here's a seashell," said Peppa. "If you put a seashell to your ear, you can hear the sound of the sea," said Granny Pig. Peppa listened. "Wow, I can hear the sea." George had found something hiding at the bottom of the pool. "Why, it's a crab," said Granny Pig. "Ouch! The crab has pinched Granny Pig's finger," said Peppa. "Naughty Mr. Crab. Oh, look, Mr. Crab is walking sideways." George was walking sideways too, pretending to be a naughty pinching crab. "Let's all be crabs," said Peppa. Everyone played at being naughty pinching crabs. "Time to go home now," said Granny Pig. They all went back to the sandy beach. "Where's the boat gone?" said Granny Pig. "Look," said Peppa. There was the boat drifting out to sea, with Grandpa Pig fast asleep on the deck. "We have to wake Grandpa Pig up," said Granny Pig. "Shout as loudly as you can." Everybody shouted, but Grandpa Pig didn't wake up. "He's too far away to hear us," said Granny Pig. "We're stuck on Pirate Island forever," said Susie Sheep. "We're castaways. We'll have to eat insects and slugs," said Danny Dog. The boat floated across the sea, with Grandpa Pig sleeping peacefully. It drifted all the way back to the shore, where the parents were waiting to collect the children. "Hello, Grandpa Pig," said the parents. Grandpa Pig woke up with a start. Hello, everyone. I've just left something behind. I'll be back in a tick." And Grandpa Pig turned the boat round and set off for Pirate Island as fast as he could go. "There's Grandpa Pig," cried Peppa. "He's come to rescue us." "Welcome aboard, me hearties," said Grandpa Pig, and everyone got back on the boat. "Naughty Grandpa Pig," said Granny Pig. "We thought you'd left us behind." "Sorry about that," said Grandpa Pig. "Next time I promise not to fall asleep." "So we can visit Pirate Island again, Grandpa?" asked Peppa. Of course we can, Peppa. I love Pirate Island, said Peppa. What an exciting adventure we have all had today, laughed Granny Pig. Goodbye until next time, me hearties.
Peppa Pig. Beep beep. Broom. George's Noisy Vehicle Book. Peppa and her family are going for a picnic in the countryside. Hooray! Cries Peppa. I love picnics. George loves picnics too. But he wants to stay at home and play with his toys. Cheer up, George. We'll have a lovely day, says Daddy Pig, beeping his horn. Beep, beep, giggles George. He likes our noisy red car. Off they drive down the hill. But what's that noise? It's Mr. Zebra's post van.
Wow.
We're stuck in a traffic jam, says Mr. Zebra. Oh dear, says Daddy Pig. This isn't a good start. Honk honk, laughs George. At last they're on the move. But what's that noise? It's Mr. Bull's digger. Moo! You'll have to wait, bellows Mr. Bull. We're digging up the road! Not another delay, cries Mummy Pig. Dig, 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 laughs George. At last, Mr. Bull has finished and off they go.
Hooray!
But what's that noise? It's a fire engine.
Wow.
You'll have to wait while I put out the fire, shouts Mrs. Sheep.
Nina!
Cries George, bouncing up and down on the back seat. At last the fire is put out, and off they go.
Hooray!
But what's that noise? It's a train. Daddy Pig has to stop while the train whizzes past. Kiki! Laughs George. Can we go home for our picnic? Asks Peppa. What a good idea, says Mummy Pig. But George doesn't want to go home. He's loved seeing all the noisy vehicles. Cheer up, George, says Peppa. You'll be able to play with all your noisy toys. And he does. The end. Peppa Pig. This book is all about Peppa Pig.
That's me.
Peppa lives with Mummy and Daddy Pig and her little brother George, and with Goldie, Teddy and Mr. Dinosaur.
Dinosaur.
At playgroup, Madame Gazelle teaches Peppa and her friends. They paint, play, sing, and do lots of fun things.
Hooray!
Peppa likes dressing up as everything. But her favourite thing to do is jump in muddy puddles. Peppa loves spending time with her granny and grandpa, especially dinner time.
Yummy, my favourite.
Sometimes Peppa has so much fun she doesn't want to go to bed.
This is the best book ever.
But she always enjoys a bedtime story. The end. Peppa Pig, Tooth Fairy. Peppa and George are eating their favourite food, spaghetti. Suddenly, something falls onto Peppa's plate.
What's that?
Peppa cries. It's your tooth, Daddy Pig laughs. If you put your tooth under the pillow tonight, the Tooth Fairy will pay you a visit. She will take the tooth and leave you a shiny coin, says Mummy Pig. Good night, Peppa. Good night, George, says Mummy Pig. Good night, my little piggies, grunts Daddy Pig. Peppa puts her tooth under the pillow for the Tooth Fairy.
Let's stay awake all night and see the Tooth Fairy,
says Peppa. Giggles George.
George, where's the Tooth Fairy?
Peppa asks.
She's very late.
But George is so tired he has fallen fast asleep.
I'm not going to sleep.
Snores Peppa. When everything is quiet, something appears at the window. The Tooth Fairy has arrived, but Peppa is fast asleep. The Tooth Fairy pushes a shiny coin under the pillow and takes Peppa's tiny tooth. Peppa, George, wake up, it's morning, says Mummy Pig brightly. Did the Tooth Fairy come? Daddy Pig asks.
No,
says Peppa sadly. Let's look under your pillow, says Daddy Pig. Look, Peppa, the Tooth Fairy has been, and she's left you a shiny coin.
Hooray!
Peppa laughs.
Next time I will stay awake and I will see the Tooth Fairy.
The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa's Fairy Tale. Once upon a time, Peppa and George were looking at storybooks together.
This one has 3 bears, porridge, and a hungry wolf looking for an old lady to eat,
said Peppa. George looked worried.
Don't worry, George,
added Peppa.
There's always a happy ending,
sighed Peppa.
I wish we lived in a fairy story.
Peppa, George, called Mummy Pig. It's time to go to Granny and Grandpa Pig's house for lunch. We're going to walk there through the woods.
But we want to go on a magical fairy tale adventure,
said Peppa. Maybe if we look hard enough, we might see some magical things on the way, said Daddy Pig.
This doesn't feel like a magical fairy tale place,
said Peppa as they walked through the woods. It feels a bit magical to me, said Daddy Pig, looking at the trees around them.
Yes, agreed Mummy Pig. This is like the patch in the Little Red Riding Hood.
I wouldn't be surprised if we bumped into the big bad wolf, said Daddy Pig. Just then, Daddy Pig bumped straight into Mr. Wolf. Oh, hello, Mr. Wolf, said Daddy Pig. How are you? Very well, replied Mr. Wolf. I'm just a bit hungry.
I'm going to my granny's house for lunch,
said Peppa. Are you really? asked Mr. Wolf. Well, I'll catch you later then. Bye.
That was just like Little Red Riding Hood,
gasped Peppa.
Meeting Mr. Wolf in the woods.
I'm not sure which way to go now, mumbled Daddy Pig.
There's a little cottage over there,
Said Peppa.
maybe someone inside will know the way.
Peppa and her family walked through a rose garden and up to the cottage. Hello, called Daddy Pig, knocking on the door. As Daddy Pig knocked, the door opened all by itself.
Is there anybody home?
Asked Mummy Pig, wondering who would live in a cottage in the middle of the woods. Inside the cottage there were 3 chairs and 3 bowls of porridge. That porridge looks delicious, said Daddy Pig. I wonder whose it is.
Hello, Peppa,
Cried Belinda Bear, spotting her friend.
Hello, Belinda,
Said Peppa. Oh, hello, Mr. and Mrs. Bear, said Mummy Pig. Sorry to trouble you, but the door just opened, so we came inside.
That's quite all right,
Said Mrs. Bear.
It's lovely to see you all. Are you going to stay for lunch, Peppa?
Asked Belinda.
We're just having porridge and it's not too hot, not too cold. But just right,
Finished Peppa. Belinda and Peppa laughed together.
We're actually on our way to have lunch at Granny and Grandpa Pig's house, said Mammy Pig.
But we got a bit lost. Could you point us in the right direction, please? Mr. Bear pointed the way, and Peppa and her family set off again.
Wow,
Said Peppa.
that was just like Goldilocks and the 3 bears.
With a little cottage and 3 chairs, said Daddy Pig. And 3 bowls of delicious porridge. I may have had just a little spoonful.
Daddy,
Peppa giggled.
it's like we're in a fairy tale.
Peppa, George, Mammy and Daddy Pig followed the path through the woods to the bottom of a hill. I think we need more porridge to get up this hill, puffed Daddy Pig.
Don't worry, Daddy,
Said Peppa.
we're going to have lunch soon.
When they arrived at the house on the top of the hill, Peppa knocked on the door.
Granny, we're here.
Everyone was very surprised when the door was opened by Mr. Wolf. Oh, they all gasped. Oh, hello, said Mr. Wolf.
Mr. Wolf, said Peppa, why are you here?
I'm just round for something to eat, replied Mr. Wolf. Granny Pig has made a lovely lunch. Granny Pig poked her head around the door.
Hello, everyone,
She said,
Oh, hello, Granny,
said Peppa, a little relieved.
We're very hungry after all our walking. Don't worry, Peppa,
said Granny Pig.
lunch is ready now.
When Peppa stepped inside, she saw Wendy Wolf was there too.
Hello, Peppa,
Said Wendy.
what have you been doing today? Hello, Wendy,
Replied Peppa.
we've been having a magical adventure in the fairy tale woods. Ooh,
Gasped Wendy. Everyone sat down to eat Granny Pig's delicious lunch.
why was it a magical adventure?
Asked Wendy.
It's like Goldilocks and the 3 bears and Little Red Riding Hood.
Said Peppa.
Wow,
Gasped Wendy.
I love fairy stories.
Everyone loved fairy stories. Yum, yum, said Mr. Wolf, tucking in. Everyone loved Granny Pig's lunch, especially hungry Mr. Wolf. The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa's Frosty Fairy Tale. Once upon a time, it was a cold and quiet winter's day. Peppa and George were playing indoors and making lots of noise. "Peppa, George," called Mummy Pig, "why don't you look in your box of books and pick a nice story to read?" Peppa and George searched through the box and pulled out their favourite books. They giggled with excitement as they looked through the pages. Then Peppa danced all over the living room, pretending she was in a fairy tale. "Snowman!" cheered George, holding his favourite book. Peppa and George loved stories. That evening, Granny and Grandpa Pig came over to stay the night. "Hello, Granny and Grandpa," said Peppa and George. "Hello, little one," said Granny Pig, giving them both a big hug. "It's time for bed now," said Mummy Pig. "Please can Granny and Grandpa tell us a bedtime story?" asked Peppa. "Of course, Peppa," said Granny Pig. "We'd love to." Once Peppa and George were tucked up in bed, Grandpa Pig showed them a beautiful snow globe. Then he began to tell a story. "Once upon a time," he said, "there was a cold and magical place called Frosty Kingdom." "How do you get to Frosty Kingdom?" asked Peppa. "First, you have to travel over the snowy hills," said Grandpa Pig. "Then you journey through a deep, dark forest. Finally, you must climb a huge mountain until you reach the winter castle at the very top." "I bet the Sugar Plum Fairy lives there and a Snow Queen," said Peppa. "Snowman," said George. Peppa and George loved Grandpa Pig's story. "I wish we could go to Frosty Kingdom too," said Peppa, as she and George drifted off to sleep. In the morning, Peppa and George woke up to the sound of jingling bells. They peered through the window to find out where the noise was coming from. "It's snowing," gasped Peppa, "and Granny and Grandpa are outside with a big sleigh and 3 reindeers." Just then, Mummy and Daddy Pig came into the bedroom. "Granny and Grandpa are taking us all on an adventure," said Mummy Pig. "We're going to Frosty Kingdom." "Frosty Kingdom was in Grandpa's story," said Peppa. "We'll be needing these," said Mummy Pig, handing out winter coats and woolly jumpers. "We're travelling by sleigh." "Hooray!" cheered Peppa and George, jumping up and down. Everyone climbed into the sleigh, and they set off. "Which way is Frosty Kingdom?" asked Daddy Pig. Grandpa Pig pointed far into the distance. "First you have to travel over the snowy hills," he began. "Then you journey through a deep dark forest," said Peppa. "Finally, you must climb a huge mountain until you reach the winter castle at the very top." "That's right, Peppa," said Grandpa Pig. After they went over the snowy hills and through the deep, dark forest, they started to climb the huge mountain. "Are we nearly there yet?" asked Peppa. Suddenly George saw something move. "Snowman!" he squealed. Everyone turned to see a snowman waving at them. "Hello!" said Peppa. "We are on our way to Frosty Kingdom." Peppa and George waved goodbye, and the reindeers pulled the sleigh further up the mountain. Up the mountain they climbed, up and up and up, until the sleigh reached a clearing and the reindeers stopped. "Are we nearly there now?" asked Peppa. "I can't see the magical winter castle."
I think we may be lost, said Grandpa Pig. I'm sure it was this way. Oh no, Peppa sighed. What are we going to do? If only there were someone here to help, said Grandpa Pig. Hello, Peppa and George, a voice said. Look, it's Miss Rabbit, said Peppa. Actually, Peppa, I'm the Sugar Plum Fairy, said Miss Rabbit. You're on the right path. Frosty Kingdom is further up the mountain. This is so magical, cried Peppa. The sleigh climbed higher and higher once more, and was nearly at the top of the mountain when, Welcome to Mr. Fox's official Frosty Kingdom shop, said Mr. Fox. Everyone hopped off the sleigh to take a quick look around. Daddy Pig loaded up a basket with sponges, telephones, and wool. I'm sure these will come in handy at Frosty Kingdom, he said. Everyone piled back onto the sleigh and they set off yet again. Finally they arrived at Frosty Kingdom. We're here, announced Grandpa Pig. Peppa saw something sparkling up ahead. As they got nearer, she gasped. It's the Winter Castle, and there's the Snow Queen. Look, it's Miss... Hello, everyone, interrupted Miss Rabbit. I'm the Snow Queen. Welcome to Frosty Kingdom. Peppa and George waved and giggled excitedly. I wish we could stay here, said Peppa. Peppa, this is our cabin, said Grandpa Pig. We're going to stay here for the night. Wow! Cried Peppa. This is the best Frosty fairy tale adventure ever. Thank you, Granny and Grandpa. Ho, ho, ho. You are most welcome, said Grandpa Pig, smiling. Peppa and George raced inside the cabin and looked around excitedly. It's like we're in your story, cried Peppa. Maybe we are, said Grandpa Pig, laughing. Peppa loved Frosty fairy tales. Everyone loved Frosty fairy tales. The end.
Peppa and Family. Peppa loves her family. Sometimes they all meet up for a picnic. Mummy and Daddy Pig bring the sandwiches. Granny and Grandpa Pig bring the cakes. Uncle and Auntie Pig bring the fruit.
Hooray!
Peppa, calls Cousin Chloe, sit next to me. Peppa skips across the grass. Yay! George is Peppa's little brother. He likes dinosaurs, puddles, and tickles. On wet days, Peppa and George put on their boots and go outside.
Wow!
There's a puddle, says Peppa. Let's jump in it.
George giggles. George loves splashing in puddles with his big sister Peppa. Mummy Pig is a clever, busy mummy. Sometimes she works quietly on her computer. Sometimes she enjoys going to noisy birthday parties with Peppa and George.
Whee!
Shouts Mummy Pig.
This is fun. Good bouncing, Mummy,
Says Peppa. Daddy Pig is a cheerful, kind daddy. He likes watching racing cars on TV. On Father's Day, Peppa and George make a special card for Daddy Pig. Oh, he gasps. What a lot of glitter. The card has made Daddy Pig all sparkly.
It says that you are the bestest daddy in the whole world,
Cheers Peppa.
hooray!
Granny Pig enjoys cooking and baking. She loves making tasty things for Peppa and George to eat.
Let's pick some strawberries.
Says Granny Pig.
We can put them in a cake. Can we help you make it?
Asks Peppa. Granny Pig laughs. Of course! Peppa fills up her basket. She loves visiting the strawberry farm with Granny Pig. Grandpa Pig has lots of hobbies.
Wow.
He likes gardening, boating, and bird watching.
Every time we see a bird, I put a tick in my book,
Says Grandpa Pig.
Bird!
Cries George.
Well done, George, says Peppa. That's a pigeon.
Grandpa Pig fills his book with ticks. George has spotted lots of pigeons. Uncle and Auntie Pig live far away. Peppa likes to visit for sleepovers.
Hello, Peppa,
Says Auntie Pig.
Hello, George.
Come in, says Uncle Pig. You must be tired after your long journey. We are, replies Mummy Pig.
I'm not tired at all,
Says Peppa, running inside to see her cousins. Cousin Chloe and baby Alexander are Peppa's favourite cousins. Cousin Chloe is big and grown up. Baby Alexander is still very small.
It's baby Alexander's bath time,
Says Cousin Chloe.
Do you want to help, Peppa? Yes, please,
Says Peppa. Baby Alexander laughs. He likes splashing about in the water. Peppa loves her family. Everyone loves Peppa. The end. Peppa Pig and the Family Reunion. Peppa and George are very excited. Today the pig family is having a reunion.
Wow.
Everyone in the family will be there.
You've brought pie,
Says Peppa.
I love pie.
Says George. Uncle Pig and Auntie Pig unpack the car. They have brought a lot of stuff for the baby. Daddy Pig helps Uncle Pig unload a high chair, some baby toys, a stroller, and even a bathtub. Peppa likes baby Alexander.
Would you like to help feed the baby?
Asks Auntie Pig.
Oh, yes,
Says Peppa. She tries to feed baby Alexander. He turns away. Peppa tries again. The baby won't open his mouth.
Oh, no. Try playing an airplane,
Says Auntie Pig. She shows Peppa how to fly the spoon into baby Alexander's mouth. It works.
Can you say airplane?
Asks Peppa. Baby Alexander can't talk yet. Peppa wants to teach baby Alexander to talk.
Can you say dinosaur?
Says baby Alexander. Later that night, it's time to put baby Alexander to bed. But he doesn't sleep for long.
What's that noise?
Asks Peppa. Baby Alexander is awake.
No, what's that other noise? That's the vacuum cleaner,
says Chloe. Why are you vacuuming at night? asked Daddy Pig. And why is Auntie Pig playing a trumpet? Loud noises are the best way to get baby Alexander to sleep, shouts Uncle Pig. We are a very noisy family. It is a very noisy night. After breakfast the next morning, everyone goes for a walk. Peppa tries to teach baby Alexander a new word.
Look, a bird,
says Peppa. Says baby Alexander.
Sky,
Says Peppa. Says baby Alexander. Then it's time for the family reunion lunch. They are having Peppa's favourite, spaghetti. Daddy Pig and Uncle Pig love spaghetti too. Both of them ask for more. For dessert, everyone has a piece of Granny Pig's pie.
Hooray!
yum,
Peppa says to baby Alexander. Says baby Alexander. Chloe has brought her puppet theatre, and she and Peppa and George put on a puppet show.
Wow!
They make a Chloe puppet, a Peppa puppet, and a dinosaur puppet for George. Everyone claps after the puppet show. Well, almost everyone. Daddy Pig and Uncle Pig have fallen asleep. Peppa and Chloe go outside to play before the reunion is over. Baby Alexander likes to watch them play in the mud.
look, baby Alexander,
Says Peppa.
we're jumping up and down in muddy puddles.
And then it happens. Baby Alexander says his first word.
Puddles.
Well done, baby Alexander. Well done, Peppa. The end. Peppa Pig, the fire engine. Mummy Pig is going to the Mummy's fire engine practice. It's just a good excuse for a cup of tea and a chat, says Daddy Pig. I'm meeting with the Daddy's football team and having a barbecue. That's just a lot of grown-up boys kicking a football around, says Mummy Pig.
Mummy, can we see the fire engine?
Asked Peppa.
Fire and done,
Says George. Yes, Peppa, I'll take you and George, says Mummy Pig.
Hooray!
Mummy Pig drives Peppa and George to Miss Rabbit's fire station. Hello, Peppa and George, says Miss Rabbit.
Come and see the fire engine. There's a ladder for climbing,
Says Miss Rabbit.
a hose for squirting water, and a big bell to ring.
Miss Rabbit takes them into the control room to look for fires.
Wow!
Peppa spots a red phone and picks it up.
Peppa, that's the fire phone, says Miss Rabbit. It's only to be used when there's a fire.
Peppa puts the phone down. Suddenly the red phone rings. Miss Rabbit panics. Fire station! Where's the fire? Says Miss Rabbit. Can I talk to Mummy Pig, please? Asked Daddy Pig. It's an emergency. I can't find the tomato ketchup anywhere. Miss Rabbit puts the phone down. How many fires have you actually put out, Miss Rabbit? Asked Mummy Pig. None, replies Miss Rabbit. Not one fire, but you've got to be ready. The red phone rings again. Hello, Daddy Pig, says Miss Rabbit. This phone is only to be used when there's a... Fire! Shouts Daddy Pig.
Oh no!
Oh dear, Daddy Pig's barbecue is on fire. Mummies to the rescue, says Miss Rabbit. Miss Rabbit slides down the pole to the fire engine. All the mummies slide down the pole. Peppa and George hold tight and slide down the pole too. They all get into the fire engine. Miss Rabbit puts on the siren and drives them to Peppa's house. The fire engine arrives at Peppa's house. Stand back, daddies, shouts Miss Rabbit. Mummy Pig and Mummy Sheep hose down the barbecue. The fire is out.
Hooray!
Thank you for saving us, Miss Rabbit, says Daddy Pig. No problem, it's all part of the service, says Miss Rabbit. The Mummy's fire engine service, says Mummy Pig. And now that Miss Rabbit has kindly flooded our garden, says Daddy Pig, we can all jump up and down in muddy puddles.
I love fire engines, says Peppa, especially when they make muddy puddles.
The end.
Hi kids, did you have fun watching this video? Then like and subscribe for more.